Hey everybody, apologize. I have been off for the last month and a half or so. I had to do my continuing education. Unfortunately, it's something I have to do every couple of years, and I put it off and had to cram it all into a short few weeks. So I've been off. But we today are going to do the Central Phoenix update. I'm going to kind of limit these for a little bit. I'm got kind of busy actually, which is a good thing, but I'm not able to do all four of the neighborhoods that I have been doing in the past. I am going to stick with the overall Central Phoenix update, and then I'm going to do the Coronado one. If I get time later on, I will kind of add some others back in, but I am tracking downtown, FQ Story, Willow, Melrose, Los Olivos, and Ashland historic districts, and that's it. So anyway, overall market picture that we got going on right now, valley-wide, is a story of a lot of inventory, slower sales, definitely swung into the buyer's market territory. Numbers that we're going to see for Central Phoenix are a little different. We are seeing a little bit of price drops, but not anywhere near what we're seeing kind of valley-wide. Just essentially, we get a little bit of a market drift over the summer because things slow down, people are on vacation and people out of town, that sort of thing. But we are not even below what we were in the spring. So anyway, let's get into the numbers. Looking forward to it. All right, starting off with the number of active homes, you can see that this climbed pretty consistently throughout spring until about the end of May and started to drop. Somewhat typical for the market, nothing really exciting to report here. People go on vacation, sometimes they leave for the summer and don't really want their houses on the market, so we do see a typical drop-off in the summer. Next, we move to pending homes in Central Phoenix. You can see that this number climbed up a little bit in March and has pretty much remained flat from there on. In the last week or so, we saw a small drop, but nothing major. Nothing really too exciting to report here as well. For new listings hitting the market, you can see that this trend line has generally been flat. If you look at the trend line, not the variability from week to week, you can see this is pretty much all the same, more or less the same average number of new listings. Homes sold in the last 30 days, you can see in March we were at about 80. We climbed all the way up to a little over 100, dropped back down to below 60. And then at the end of May, we started to see that number start to climb just a little bit. So possibly a good sign of a little bit of market recovery, but we'll see. Homes sold in the last 6 months gives us a little more of a long-term stable kind of picture. You can see that this trend has been upward pretty consistently throughout the spring. Up until the last couple of weeks, we did see a little bit of a drop. Not anything to be concerned about just yet. Average price drop. Now, this is everything that's been on the market over the last 6 months, what they started at versus what they are at currently. This includes closed listings as well. You can see that this number has been gradually going up throughout the entire year. Not a huge amount. We're like 1.5 points above what we were at the start of the year, but it is going up. So something to keep an eye on. Average sales price over the last 30 days. This is kind of a short-term indicator of where the market might be going. It's a little more volatile than the average price closed over the last 6 months. You can see that this is dropping. It's been as high as 600 and is down to just a little over 400. So pretty decent drop there. Average sales price over the last 6 months. Now, this is important. It's important to look at these numbers. If you look at the end of that graph, it looks like the prices are dropping, a little bit spooky. It peaked at about 540. We're down just a little bit above 530 right now. But you have to look at this entire graph to understand what's going on with the market. When I started tracking this data at the beginning of March, we were at about just a little under 520. We climbed all the way up to 540, and now we've dropped a little bit down to just under or just over 530. This is typical for a summer market in Phoenix. Prices typically drop in the summer with a little bit of a climb potentially in the fall, but this is very, very normal. We're still quite a bit above where we were even in March. This is nothing to panic about. You're going to hear a lot of doom and gloom if you search YouTube or Facebook or, whatever about the market. We are not at a doom and gloom place just yet. This is very, very typical for the market. Central Phoenix in particular is resilient to the price fluctuations that we see kind of valley-wide. And in this particular instance, we are being resilient. So no reason to panic at this point. Lastly, I wanted to put these two graphs side by side to illustrate a point. You can see on the top, that is the days on market for any home that is currently active or pending. And below that, that's the days on market for the closed home. This illustrates as clear as it can be that pricing is really important. If you price your home high or incorrectly, it's going to sit. Buyers have plenty of choice out there. They're not going to overpay for a property. I know that we still have a lot of sellers out there that feel like they're going to find that unicorn, that person who's willing to pay maximum dollars for their property, but that's just not the case anymore. Pricing is extremely important. Properties are moving, things are still selling, but you've got to price them right. There you have it, folks. What is going on in the Valley as a whole with price drops and a little bit of market panic is not happening here in Central Phoenix. Although the prices have dropped a little bit, we're not seeing anything that's outside the norm for summer market. The market here remains strong, remains much more resilient than a lot of the outer areas. If you have any more questions for me, you can give me a call. I do it, like I said earlier at the beginning of the video, I have data for a lot of neighborhoods separately. So if you're thinking about listing or would like a little bit more detail about a neighborhood that you live in, you can always give me a call at 480-694-7643 or comment here and I will respond as soon as possible. Thanks. Bye.